Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be me discussing the skins of Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled. Not all of them. I'm just going to pick my favorites that I think have enough of distinction from the character they're portraying that I think they could become their own character moving further into the franchise. So without further ado, let's just jump into it. We're going to start with Crash here. This is the basic Crash, and then I'm going to go to the next skin to tell you which one I think are valid in what I'm discussing. So Blue Hyena Crash, he was in the trailer to Crash on the Run. And Crash on the Run has the Frosty Dimension, the Inferno Dimension, and the Oxide Dimension. So I think that Blue Hyena Crash could actually be the Frosty variant of Crash Bandicoot. So if they were to explore the Frosty Dimension further, I think that this would be a great fit. And then this one I just love because this was from my favorite Grand Prix in Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled. It was the RUSTLAND Grand Prix. And in my opinion, the RUSTLAND Grand Prix takes place at the end of the timeline. So this skin is actually canon to the game because you see various graffiti on the walls and it is of RUSTLAND Crash. So the skin itself is canon to the level. So if they were ever to explore that time frame of Crash Bandicoot's life again, this would be the Crash that I would go with. The rest of the Crash skins are just things that are nonsensical, like a reindeer Crash or a mad scientist Crash. Nothing that I think would have place in an actual adventure. And then the rest are just like Scuba Crash or Motorcycle Crash, just Crash with different clothes on. So we're going to jump into the next character that I think deserves some more spotlight. We've got Neo-Cortex. There's our boy. He's in almost every single Crash game. So like I said with the Blue Hyena Crash, Red Cortex would be a perfect Inferno variant of Cortex. I know that the Inferno Cortex did not have yellow hair, but I think the yellow hair pops with the red skin really well. And the same Blue Cortex would be a fabulous Frostland Cortex. I promise all of these additions to the lore aren't just going to be, the different variants from Crash on the Run. But we're going to keep moving along. The ROBO-CORTEX, he actually reappeared in Crash on the Run as a full-fledged character of his own. And I thought it would be neat if the other skins of this skin also became characters. So I guess it doesn't have to be named Anime Robot Cortex, but it being a pink version of it, being stationed elsewhere, like perhaps Japan for this one. RUSTLAND would be in the future. And this Beanox blue one could be stationed in some Arctic area. But it would be neat because we could have all the different Cortexes being sent out to different locations, and they could be making anthropomorphic animal characters, because that seems to be the biggest plot hole. I shouldn't say plot hole, the discrepancy in the fandom. People don't understand that all of the animal characters that we're introduced to are not naturally occurring. They're characters that are invented via the Evolve Array. So if we had more Cortexes scattered throughout the world, I think it would help the fandom accept the fact that all these different Cortexes everywhere are making different mutants. So that's going to cover Cortex, but since we're talking about skins, I just wanted to say one more important thing. I see the fandom say that this should be like the flashbacks for Cortex because Cortex was a clown in the past. Cortex was never a clown. He never murdered his family. That was from the original Bible that has since been disproven. Like everything in the Bible, not everything in the Bible is canon to the series. And Bandipedia using that in their lore, like in his history, it actually influenced a future game, Crash on the Run. They said in Cortex's bio on his little introduction card that he used to be a clown and he used to be in the circus, which isn't true. And I'm fairly certain they got that from Bandipedia because on their Crash Bandicoot 4 skin, they are talking about the amount of crates in the game in Crash Bandicoot 4, and they said they got their crate count from Bandipedia. So I think King went to Bandipedia and messed up Cortex's actual lore. But I'm sorry for rambling. Let's jump into the next character. Tiny Tiger. I only have one skin for Tiny Tiger that I think would be cool as its own character. Tiny is a special case when it comes to the Anthro characters because Tasmanian tigers are extinct. So it would be neat if we had like this white version of the Tasmanian tiger, which its scientific name is the thylacine or thylacine. But I think it'd be neat if another character that came from the cloning process was introduced, like maybe Cortex spliced some other DNA to try and create it, similar to like Jurassic Park where they use frog DNA with the dinosaur DNA. So I think it'd be cool if they got like White Tiger and they spliced it with the Tasmanian tiger to bring this character into existence. But that's it for Tiny. Coco 2 doesn't have many skins that I think would actually be incorporated into like an actual character because it's all just her wearing different clothing. Except for Dark Coco. It's believed by fans that Dark Coco is a variant of Evil Coco, like them trying to make Evil Coco more PG so she could be included in this game. And I would gladly accept that if that was fact. Bring Evil Coco into the fandom, into the actual games. Just have her look like this. And we don't want to call her Dark Coco. We'll call her Evil Coco, even though Evil Coco was the name that Coco went by when she was hypnotized by N.TRANCE. We can have two Evil Cocos. It's fine by me. So have this dark-looking Coco come back. Call her Evil Coco. It'd be great. And then N.GIN has two that I think would be cool. So this is our standard N.GIN. And then these are the two that I think deserve to be expanded upon. The RUSTLAND, like I said, the same with Crash and with Cortex. They are technically canon, so if we ever go to that time period again, it would be cool to see him expanded on. And then this one here, I would like to put a pin in. Just remember, Crash Test Dummy N.GIN. I'm going to move on to DINGODILE. Some of the other characters I skipped over because their skins either didn't really pop, they didn't have much going for them that could make them stand out as their own character, or it's something I want to go back to when I was talking about N.GIN, how I said put a pin on him and remember that. So we have DINGODILE, and really the only skin that he has that I like to see further expanded on, again, RUSTLAND's my favorite, so I'm kind of biased, but the transformation he has gone through is ridiculous. He has like mecha legs now, a mecha tail, and like his whole top of his body is like very lizard-like. I know he's part crocodile, but he does not look like a crocodile. So, and plus he's got like magma going into his nose or some chemicals to keep him alive, it appears. It just looks wild, and I'd love for them to expand upon that. Now this one's kind of silly, and if you guys know a lot about Twinsanity, you might already know what I'm going to talk about here. So this is PAPU, and his only like legendary skin is the one that's valid, because all the other ones are just palette swaps. Pirate PAPU. I think it would be really neat if they brought back the scrap character from Crash Twinsanity called Kapu or Kapu, because like he's a captain. I think if they gave him the PAPU pirate design as Kapu, I think that would be really neat. And now we're going to move to Fake Crash. I like the monster forms of Fake Crash. I feel like they could be introduced as like a squad of monsters. So doesn't necessarily need to be Fake Crash as the monster, but just having all these different goo monsters would fit well with all of BRIO's different blob monsters. Like he throws the vials and the green blob monster, and then you have in Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled, you have that giant green one in Sewer Speedway. And then there's also another toxic monster that I've talked about in like Forgotten Crash characters from Crash Bash. He's a big green monster that appears in the Toxic Dash levels. But all these blobby monster looking guys, I think it would be great if BRIO, when BRIO comes back in a future installment, if he just has like all these different variants of the blob. Like you could have the lava, the oil. Now we're gonna jump to N.TRANCE. This one piggybacks off a different theory video I had where the fifth dimension is actually Gingerbread Joyride. So seeing a chocolate Humpty Dumpty in trance, or Humpty and trance, I think it'd be neat if this doesn't necessarily have to be an N-trance guy, but it could be another chocolate creature, similar to King Jelly, the fountain that we see. And then you just have a normal egg-looking N-trance, so another sentient food-like creature, so you can have the jellies, the sumo jellies, and then all these different N-trance creatures. I think that they could all live in the fifth dimension together, the Gingerbread Joyride. And then just because I'm a sucker for the baby characters, this says Cheetah Baby Crash, but I took the screen cap when we were in the transition from going from one skin to the next. This is just Baby Crash. I love the baby characters from the Mario spin-off titles. So when Baby Crash and Baby Coco were introduced, initially I was kind of upset, but I more so am not upset. Like, I do like them. I think they're adorable, and I don't know how they could be brought back into the story unless there was some more time travel shenanigans. Plus, I don't know what they would really accomplish being brought back into the story. But just seeing the baby characters brought back into, like, the main series of games would be pretty interesting, I think. And then this is Fake Baby T. Fake Baby T could technically be canon because it's not really explained how Fake Crash made all the quote-unquote fake dinosaurs in Prehistoric Playground. I have a theory about that. I might make a video about it later, but technically Fake Baby T could exist. I know he's not present in that level, but if they ever go back to that split-off fragment dimension where there are fake dinosaurs, I think Fake Baby T would fit in perfectly. Then we have Dr. N.BRIO, and he has two skins that I think are pretty interesting and could be brought back into the series. The first one just being Frank and Brio. It's really odd that this wasn't a legendary skin. This was just technically like a palette swap skin, but it has the extra stitches and the extra costume, and it's just wild looking. And I don't know how they would be able to incorporate this into a game, because technically it just looks like Brio as Frankenstein. So maybe it could end up being one of Brio's relatives. I don't know. But I thought it was worth pointing out. And then the last Brio skin, BRIOCTOPUS. It's like a weird purple alien looking through a hatched eggshell, and he's got tentacles and hands, and he's just all sorts of crazy looking. So if he was reintroduced into the series, I think what they would say is they spliced some of Brio's DNA with an alien, and this is the outcome. So I could see this actually being its own full-fledged character somewhere down the line in a future Crash installment. Like maybe you're exploring another part of Gasmoxia or something, and you come across this chamber and it has all of these different hybrid alien Crash characters. Now I'm going to jump into the last character that I think the skins could be more expanded on, and then I'll jump into the thing I put attack in at the beginning. So this one is going to be just the palette swaps. So you have MEGAMIX, who has been in 3 games now. There's actually 2 different MEGAMIXes, but that's for another video. So we have MEGAMIX here, and then the colors, again, go well with Crash on the Run. So this could be the Inferno variant, and this can be the Oxide variant. There is no normal blue palette swap for MEGAMIX, but if they did, that would be the Frosty. And then I said this is the last character with the skins, but there are 2 more characters that I just wanted to show off that I believe would be beneficial if they expanded on them. YAYA Panda deserves more lore than what we have. I have a video trying to figure out her history, and then the other character is HASTY the Moose. Obviously, he is inspired from Fasty the Hippo. We all know that story. If you don't, I'll link you to a video. But he doesn't have any in-lore backstory, so it'd be neat if they, reintroduced him in a future installment and said where he came from and whose side he's actually on. Because he has Aku Aku's mask, but we don't know what he stands for or what he believes in or anything. He's just that moose guy. With all that said, I'm going to jump back to the robot version of N.GIN. So this idea came to me when I saw all these different robotic versions of the characters. I know that the Sonic the Hedgehog series has robotification or roboticization or something along the lines of that. But the fact that we have Mecha Bandicoot, Robo-Pura, Robo-Crunch, ROBO-CORTEX, new variants of the lab assistants, and the test dummy N.GIN that are all like almost all fully robotic, I think it would be neat if in a future installment of Crash, like I said, it could be in Wumpa League, it could be in Crash 5, it could be in any game, if somewhere down the line someone starts making robotical copies of all of the characters. And the story that I came up with was this black clothed lab assistant. He's actually the mastermind behind it all. And they all have a hive mind, all of the different lab assistants. So the lab assistants revolt over Cortex and they start making robotic duplicates to battle Cortex and the heroes. So anyway, guys, that was the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any skins from this game that you think I should have included, let me know in the comment section. This is going to be a multi-part series. I didn't want to talk about other games because I knew this video would be quite meaty as it is. I think it's going to be over 15 minutes. So if you're here at the end and you made it all the way to the end, let's just say the secret word can be skin. Skinny jeans. So put skinny jeans in the comment section. And again, like I said, if you have any skins from this game that I skipped over that you think would make a great character in a future installment, let me know. And as always, thank you for watching and subscribing and all that great stuff. And you have a great night. Take care.